Hey guys, how's it going? CoreData here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do something a little bit different and a little bit special. I actually have a handful of card reveals from the upcoming set, which is Homefront Early War. 939 got in contact with me a couple of days ago and asked me if I was interested in doing a card reveal. I naturally said yes, because revealing cards is one of the coolest things you can do as a content creator in the space when it comes to card games. So today I'll be revealing the remaining 3 cards for US. Obviously, shout out to Bear and the team at 939 for providing all this to me. I'll be starting at the lowest rarity, but by no means the lowest impact card here, which is, of course, going to be the 1st Defense Battalion. This is a 1-cost, 0-op, 1-2 with Blitz and Bond deployment. Gets +1 attack if you have a US unit in the front line. A little bit of historical context for the Defense Battalions. They were essentially battalions of US Marines that were deployed in the Pacific to defend US assets and US military bases. The 1st Defense Battalion were particularly known as the Wake Island Defenders for their defense of Wake Island, which is a small little island in the middle of the Pacific. Highly recommend looking into it if you don't know already, but a very, very interesting case study. As for the card itself, this is a shoo-in for US Frontline, US Aggro, and US Tempo decks. If you're unfamiliar, we lost at the start of Homefront. We lost 164th to rotation. This card, I think, slots into that slot nicely. It's not as good as some of the other 1-drops that other nations have access to. Things like Comb, for example, just is still a lot better. But just having a 1-cost 0-op US unit is such a... It's something that a lot of US decks have been missing, particularly like the aggro and the tempo stuff. So I'm very excited to see this card printed. I'm very excited to play with this card. As people know, 164th was one of my favorite cards in US, so I'm just glad to have a card I can play in its place, at least in those tempo and aggro decks. Like I said, shoo-in for frontline, shoo-in for aggro, shoo-in for tempo. I'm very excited to play around with this card. The next card that I have to reveal is a special, and it is the 15th Engineers. So the 15th Engineers is a 5-cost 1-up 1-2 infantry. Deployment, gain 1 extra credit slot for each unit in the front line. Your units gain equal amount of attack. This card reads very weird, but it is incredibly interesting to me. This is essentially... The way I've looked at it is it's a proactive war bonds in a lot of cases. You can play this in tempo, you can play this in frontline. You're frequently, if you're playing frontline, turn 4 you might have 2 or 3 things in the front line. You play a 15th Engineers and your things are going to get +3 attack and you'll gain 3 credit slots. The ramp side of this may seem kind of misplaced, but it kind of makes sense in like US Tempo and US Frontline, because you do have things with some slightly predictive operation costs, things like your Shermans, things like your M3 Lee if you're running them, which you probably will be given the US package that we're getting in this mini set. So a very, very interesting card. I do think it's better than it reads. On a first read, it doesn't look great. It's a 5-cost 1-2, but this also gains the attack, which is very, very important to note. And it's not limited to gaining the attack in the front line. Your entire board will gain the attack, which means this is a potential include in decks like US Air with the Brewsters. Turn 4, you play like Air Cover. Turn 5, Engineers. You gain a bunch of extra credit slots for operating on the following turn or for playing a bigger mid-range threat. Yeah, just a super, super interesting card. I do think this might make its way into things like US Finland Air. It's a deck I've played previously on the channel. It's a deck I really, really enjoy because you're able to make use of the operation cost cheating of Lotta Svard, which is very good. It means you can make a really good use of the attack buff to turn this comes down. So yeah, this is just a very, very interesting card. I'm not sure how good it's going to be. I'm certainly going to experiment with this in like frontline. I mean, I'll be experimenting with this in like mid-range and in tempo, because again, it reads like a slightly more proactive war bonds, because if you have 2 units in the front line and you play this on 5, you're gaining 2 extra credit slots, you're getting the war bonds ramp, plus you're gaining an extra 2 attack on your entire board. So I do think this reads a bit stronger than it looks. I'm very excited to test with this card. If nothing else, it's incredibly interesting. And finally, we have the Elite for the mini set, and that is Surging Power. It's a 4-credit order. Give the top 4 units of your deck +1/+1, +2/+2, +3/+3, +3, and +4/+4 respectively. This is a very interesting card as well. Similarly to the 15th Engineers, a very, very interesting card. It's also like an interesting like thematic thing, showing like the ramping up of the US like war production as the war started and progressed. So very, very neat like tie-in, particularly with how this set is kind of to do with the beginning of the war, at least it's seemingly, considering like 15th Engineers were also deployed at the very start of the war to help the Allies in North Africa. That Surging Power is also like representative of that as well. It's just very, very interesting and nice, like, thematic tie-in. I digress. Surging Power, very, very interesting card. +1, +1, +2, +2, +3, +3, +4, +4. This is an effective, what, like +10 to the top 4 units of your deck. This is, I think, a lot better than the Victory Garden. As people know, I was very low on Victory Garden in the spoiler season for Homefront. There were some defenders of it, namely J King, tried to called it mediocre. I called it garbage. But yeah, I think this is better than the I do think this has the potential to be actually quite decent in very specific decks. If you're playing a high density of Blitz units, if you're playing a high density of Blitz aircraft in particular, if you're playing, for example, US-Italy Air with the F4 Wildcats and the Big Machis, this can potentially give you a lot of very potent Blitz damage from the backline. It's also a much more tangible payoff than Victory Garden was, because you're drawing. It's able to kind of it has a lot more immediacy than Victory Garden did. Victory Garden, you were paying 3 for a very delayed payoff. You had to draw the things, they had to die to give the buffs to the top of the deck, which you then had to draw again. Whereas this is just giving the top 4 +10 effectively. So I do think this card has potential to see a bit of play. Maybe in a more tempo-based deck, or like a slightly more mid-range deck with a lot of Blitz aircraft or Blitz tanks, for example. Just very, very interesting overall. It's difficult to say without having played with it to know how good it is going to be in practice, but on paper, 4 credits for +10 across 4 units. You have to draw them, but still, that's a lot of stats for not a lot of investment. So yeah, very, very interesting card. I'm very, very excited to play with these. Again, big shout out to 1939 for giving me the cards to reveal early. Very, very cool to have this honor. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I do intend on seeing you guys again very, very soon once the spoiler season wraps up. I intend on talking about the set as a whole. Maybe I can rope some other people into talking about it with me. Maybe I can get J King in here, or I can get someone else. We'll see if anyone feels like it. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I am looking forward to playing with these cards, and all these will be available, I do believe, in Homefront booster packs come March 10th. They are changing how the mini sets are released. Previously, they used to go into the core set. Now they're going into the set that they are releasing after. So this is Homefront Early Wars, so these are going to be in Homefront packs. Just a slight change from how it's been done previously with the rotation changes and whatnot. Just something to bear in mind. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.